I'm Dr. Maninder Kaur, and I'm the National Coordinator at India Alternative Care Network, which is a collective dedicated to promoting the exchange of learning and dissemination of knowledge on issues related to children without parental care or at risk of separation and family-based care. We're excited to have you all for this webinar on Introduction to FAQs document, Every Child's Right to Family Life, organized by IACN and Hope and Homes for Children. During this session, if you have any queries, please you can write in the chat, and please also introduce yourself in the chat. We'll record this session and we'll share the recording with you. So today in this webinar, we will talk about the FAQ document, its rationale, and its key highlights. We also have with us speakers who will take us through the discussion on the approach, reforms, and interventions around family-based care and aftercare. So the FAQs document Every Child's Right to Family Life, an Introduction to Family Strengthening and Alternative Care in India, has been prepared by IACN, Hope and Homes for Children, and UNICEF India. At this occasion, we wish to acknowledge the IACN Steering Committee for their insights in shaping this document. Also, and we thank Child in Need Institute, CINI, Miracle Foundation India, Youth Council for Development Alternatives by CDA, and Udyan Care for their contribution in compiling the FAQs document. I now invite Mark Riley to speak about why FAQs was conceived and how it was useful for the stakeholders working with children and families in risk situations. As a technical lead on Hope and Homes for Children programs in India, Mark provides project management and technical support for children programs, and he's working with UNICEF India, Indian judiciary, local partners, and state government. Mark has helped in developing a range of child protection and safeguarding policies, implementation strategies, and related training in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, India, and Indonesia. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Meninda, and it's I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for the introductions and welcome everybody. And today we really would have hoped to have done this in person, a launch of the FAQs. And I still think that next year there's going to be some scope for getting together and having a more strategic discussion on how we use the FAQs and how we can popularize the ideas in the FAQs. It's a really fantastic document, and it needs to be more than a document, more than just something that people can pick up and then discard. It's actually very comprehensive and meaty. And just to give you a little bit of a background in terms of the rationale for developing the FAQs, we really felt, and when I say we, I think the sector collectively, many people are on the discussion today, we thought that it would be a really good idea to, consolidate a lot of the discussions around alternative care into one document, essentially ensuring that we are at least talking about the same things, that we have a common understanding of some of the terms, bringing the JJ Act into the discussion, so that we all have a very clear understanding of what alternative care is, what do we mean by some of the words and acronyms and descriptions that we use. So just pulling it all together and ensuring that we're at least on the same page when it comes to our understanding of alternative care, where it fits into the law, and also what we can do with the document to ensure that we can use it to promote our work and also to engage with others about alternative care and gatekeeping, to ensure that we can have more discussions and that we all have a common understanding. We've done this in other parts of the world, and an example that I'm going to give you is from Africa, where 12 African countries came together and created a question and answer booklet in terms of answering some of the same questions about alternative care. What is alternative care? What does it mean? What do these terms mean? Why do we need alternative care? Why do we need to move away from institutional care and promote more alternative family care for children? What can we do? Where are some examples and some case studies? So we took the same idea and then we put it into the Indian context, and a lot of people here today contributed greatly to that. So we're really excited for the document. We're really excited that it can be used to open discussions, that we can help people to have a better understanding of alternative care. There's some really good examples in the FAQs of practices from around the world and in India of where alternative care has been able to support a child in a family rather than in an institution. There's also some descriptions of when institutional care is used for a very short term, and all of the continuum of care that the Indian legislation have. So we see this as being used with CSOs. We see it being used with governments. I'm sure, like me, you spend a lot of time talking to other people outside of the sector about alternative care. And you can spend a lot of time describing why there's a problem with institutions. We can spend a lot of time talking about the lots of aspects of the continuum of care. Now we have a document that we can just, and actually in Africa, I hand out this document all the time, and it's a really good comprehensive summary of what we're doing. So we have similar hopes for it in India, and I would say that it's a very comprehensive document compared to the ones that we've seen in other parts of the world. And I think that that goes to show how much of an appetite in India there are for, you know, a lot of details and a lot more information. So I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased with the document. We hope that it gives us a platform, and if we can use it across all states and across all of our partners, and even engaging with the private sector to understand more about what we're trying to do, I think that we can have a really, it can be a really great resource for us to use and build on, and a lot of discussions after that. So yeah, thank you for thank you for attending today. And let me just hand back over where we will explore the FAQs in a little bit more detail with Meninda.
Thank you, ma'am, for talking about the idea behind developing the FAQs and showing how, as an educational resource, it can guide the stakeholders. I now take the opportunity to share the key highlights of the document. So the FAQs document is a knowledge resource for anyone who wishes to learn the what, why, and how of caring for children within families. It defines relevant terms like continuum of care, gatekeeping, informal and formal care, among others. It documents policy and legal framework, highlighting the global commitment to care reforms. It cites the need for keeping families together and identifies the factors leading to institutionalization of children. It unfolds the concept of family strengthening by laying out its key components. It looks at various levels of gatekeeping and discusses the role of primary stakeholders in implementing the process. It addresses questions like the possibility of eliminating institutional care or transitioning away from institutional care through case studies. It covers the family-based alternative care options, including kinship care and foster care, and it deliberates on relevant discussions like formalization of kinship care. It focuses on aftercare and the means to strengthen it. When a number of youth at present experience snapped ties and support as they leave care, this document rightly brings out a discussion on why the support is needed and of what type. If you wish to read more about the document, it's available on the IACN website, iacn.in, under the resource section. So can we move on to the next session now? Now I would, can we go on to the slide with Subhadeep's introduction? Yeah, thank you, Mark. Now I would like to call Subhadeep Adhikari, who will talk about CINI's models and initiatives in preventing family separation. Subhadeep is a child protection specialist and a professional social worker. He is a project manager with CINI for the Family's First project in Jharkhand, India. The project is demonstrating care reforms in 2 districts through strengthening government and community systems to ensure children are cared for and protected within the community. Subhadeep is a strong advocate for family care and preventing family separation through strengthening communities and alternative care systems in the state. Over to you, Subhadeep.
Thank you, Maninder, for this warm introduction, and good morning, everyone. My name is Shubhadeep, and as shared by Maninder, I am working in CINI, Child Aid Institute, in the capacity of Program Manager, Child Protection Programs, and I'm looking after for the project on alternative care and preventing family separation in the in one of the states part of India, which we known as Jharkhand. So I'll be sharing my slide. I have a brief presentation on the work that we do in CINI and how we strengthen the community-based child protection initiatives in preventing family separation. And I'll be also talking about one of our initiatives and how it promotes child participation in preventing family separation. So just give me a moment. Can you see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, great. Thank you, Subhadeep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So before I talk about the work that we do in the community, let me take you through the CINI's model of the preventive child protection model. So we have this 3-tier of prevention model that we endorse in our community, and we work with the communities in these 3 levels. So the primary level of the work that we do at the committee is talking about prevention, and where we work with all the children in the communities and in preventing their vulnerabilities and working very closely with their parents. So that is the primary prevention level that we work at the committee level, where we talk about bringing about convergence, where we talk about working with various child protection committees at the committee level, with various CSOs and with the government system and the frontline workers who are at the committee level, who have this ownership of providing the need-based services in keeping children safe in the communities. So that's the basis of our work that we do, because in CINI we believe that prevention is the core. We believe in prevention model rather than rehabilitative or providing rehabilitative services. So our trust is on preventing at source, and that's where we invest most of the programmatic elements at the community level. So once the child gets vulnerable, and if the child gets out of the safety net from the prevention, from the family prevention level, and when it comes to secondary level, who are the at-risk children. So when these at-risk children gets identified, and when we try to start do our case management process and techniques with these children, we try to link those children back to the communities. So there where we try to create the child-friendly system and the child-friendly community at the local level, because we believe that if a child has gone out of the safety net, so that child has to be linked back with the family or with the communities. Otherwise, the child will be going at the tertiary level, and it will be a system level responsibility, and that will take a long process for rehabilitation. So the major area of work focuses on the primary level in preventing family separation. And if the child goes out of the primary prevention level, then how we can try to build in the child protective environment, child friendly system, so that the child can be linked back with the primary layer. And that's where the secondary level plays a very important role in bringing all the convergence, bringing all the system level stakeholders through a convergent actions in planning for these children, in linking those children with the relevant social service schemes, and also working with the families on their family strengthening, because placing back children merely will not help. We also need to work very closely with the families with the peers, with the neighbors, with the various religious groups, so that a convergent community driven plan gets developed in keeping these children safe in the community. So that's a secondary layer of prevention that we work, where we engage these stakeholders, these duty bearers, in building that child protective environment. And the top level layer is called the tertiary prevention level, where those children whose rights has been violated, and who has been victimized, or who has come into the periphery of the government system. So how we can place those children back at the community level, with the secondary level and at the primary level. So that's the work that we do at the tertiary prevention care, so that we can reintegrate back, we can place those children back within the families, the communities, and also how we can prevent re-victimization of children by providing long-term family-based care, by working on their families, by working on the family strengthening plans, and also providing a robust monitoring mechanism, so that those children don't fall trap again in the vulnerabilities. So this is the child protection the model that we have in Sini, that we do in Sini, in preventing family separation. And so going forward, based on this model, how we what are the key elements in the community that we generally focus? So what we mean by community gatekeeping, and what are the major areas that we focus when we talk about community gatekeeping? So as you all know, that community is a very important part, and most of the programmatic interventions, whether it is from the government, or it is from the NGOs or CSOs, is based on at the community level. So and a lot of groups are there in the community level, whose capacity needs to be built up in in setting up their accountability, in also planning and reducing the vulnerabilities. So at the community level, we work very closely with various community-based organizations in building that community ownership, in building that accountability towards child protection issues. So we train these people, we provide that hand-holding support, we provide that mentoring, in case management, in identifying vulnerabilities, in vulnerability mapping, in doing a proper robust family strengthening plans, so that the issues get stopped at the source itself. So that's a major area of work that we do as part of community gatekeeping, by working very closely with the various CBOs, and with the parents and the committee at the committee level. The second area which we focus is on the family strengthening, by developing effective family strengthening plans, and also drawing up a mechanism by drawing up a plan for linking those vulnerable families with the social security schemes, so that these families gets economic independent and get sustained by a robust linking system. So the linkage and referral process as mandated in the ICPS, and now in the new guidelines of Mission Vasalya. So 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 there is a chapter in the Mission Vasalya which talks about convergence. And by convergence, we mean inter-department convergence, intra-department convergence, so that we can bring in all the various, education department, the livelihood department, the health department, the school department, and we can avail those services at the community level, so that the families get benefited, so that the children get benefited who are vulnerable, and they get properly monitored. So that is another area where we focus very prominently, by working closely with the families on their various issues, and linking those families with the various social security schemes, so that the services of schemes gets percolated in the families, and they can be sustained in that way. And the third area of the work that we focus is on the parenting aspects in the communities, because what we have experienced in Jharkhand, since it's a very tribal dominated villages, a lot of parenting issues we have seen in the families. We have seen the top most the top 5 reasons of family separation is like substance abuse, unstable parent-child relationship, extramarital affairs, migration, and also the bond is not good within the families with the parent and the child. So we need to do, we have done a lot of work in this area by working very closely on the parents and with the children in the communities. We have developed a parenting curriculum which we call as better parenting toolkit, where we have developed various sessions which talks about parenting aspects, communication, issues of children within the family, how we can stabilize the bond with the father, mother, and with the kins as well. So parenting is an aspect which we feel is very important in strengthening the communication and the bond within the family, and also realizing the importance of family-based care, because the child gets vulnerable at that point when the family feels that I don't want to keep this child, or I don't want to take care of this child, or he or she is a burden for me. So the vulnerability starts from there on. So that mindset, that attitude needs to be changed, and that's why we are working on knowledge, attitude, and practice, as we say, the CAP, KAP. So we are working on these three pillars so that we can improve the communication and work on the parenting aspects. So these are three main buckets that we work in the community by with the families and the children in ensuring the community gatekeeping aspects. Now, how we do this? What is the process that we follow when we say when we say that this is the uh, what is the process that we follow when we say that this is the elements of community gatekeeping? So the heading of the slide is getting hidden because of this tab, but the slide says about the elements of community gatekeeping. So these are the process that we follow when we work in the communities in ensuring that safety net and working with at the prevention level. So first, when we start working in the communities, we build on the community institutions by working very closely on the capacities in building their knowledge and providing them that information by building the capacities. So we work very closely with the various CSOs, the community-based child protection committees, in building up the knowledge and skills and how they can work on various child protection aspects. The second step talks about doing a child vulnerability assessment of that area by using various social monitoring tools, because we need to understand the vulnerabilities of this area. We need to know the issues that are available, that are pertaining in these areas, and how the VLCPC or the community based groups can work on those vulnerabilities. So a proper detailed child vulnerability mapping is being done in identifying those issues and prioritizing those issues to work on the case management process. We also do a family assessment, counseling, and better parenting, as I've mentioned, because once we get the vulnerability issues, once we get the child vulnerability, we start working on these families and on these children through a methodized, case management process with the VLCPCs. And that is followed by a family strengthening plans and linkage activities of the children and of the families, so that the case management takes place in a very methodical way and it can be properly followed up. We also try to promote child participation and child engagement process in our community activities, because as we all know that child participation and child engagement is one of the key mandate of UNCRC. When we are working with children, we need to hear their voices as well. We need to understand their concerns as well. And planning cannot be done without keeping children at the center of work that we do. So we hear out their concerns. We promote child participation in various ways in the community-driven activities. We ensure that child has a place in the committee meetings where the child can flag out their concerns in the VLCPC meetings, and also the child has a decision-making power as well in providing suggestions and providing their inputs in the community-based plans. So that's how we try to engage children in every activities and ensure their participation. And the last and foremost bucket that you are seeing is one of the major area of our work is about convergence and interdepartmental collaboration, because whatever the work we do in the communities, it can only be successful if we have a proper convergence and interdepartmental linkage at the government institution level, because the plans and the activities that we plan, that the committee plan, that is presented in front of the district officials, and the support is being asked from the district officials, so that the need-based support can be provided, and also the actions that that will be taken by the district officials that gets affected. So convergence is very important in bringing collaboration and in ensuring the safeguarding mechanism. So this is the process that we follow in community gatekeeping, the community work that we do in the communities. Taking from that experience, we have also have done an innovation in our area, which we call the child-friendly space for children, and it is basically a safe space that we have termed, because it's a platform that we have created in the communities, and it's an innovation because we have feel that there has to be a platform in the communities where children will not be judged. They will and children from all age group, from all category will be irrespective of their race, caste, gender, they will be having their own participation, and it will be non-judgmental space where they will be empowered, they will be protected from all forms of abuse, exploitation, and violence. They will be denied from any kind of development opportunities, and they will be participating in the decision making process. So we have seen that in a village or in a community, there's hardly any platform for children to speak, or an area or a or a space where children can come and meet and share their concerns. So that's the innovation what we have realized, that it has to be a community owned and community managed space where the village level convergence meetings will take place. The children will come and they will share their own concerns. Extracurricular and various kind of development activities will take place for children, and that will have a direct impact on preventing family separation. Because if we engage children proactively, if we engage parents children proactively, and if we can see that the children are getting benefit out of those activities and they're enjoying in their villages, lesser is the chance of getting separation, or the vulnerabilities will get reduced, because a lot of talking takes place in the community. Children get space to speak, they can share their concern, whatever the vulnerability mapping or the issues that gets that comes out from the various meetings, those gets addressed in those meetings in the safe spaces. Because in a safe space, it's a platform where people from all groups come forward. There is a representation from from all kind of committees, and a committee based joint action plan takes place at at the committee level. So we believe that this center, this safe space, is an platform where the village people feels confident and they own it as their own process of child protection mechanism. So what kind of tools or what kind of ICs generally we have in the safe spaces? So we have displayed the social map that the committee people has developed, and in that social map they can see that which are the areas or which are the houses are there where the vulnerable children are residing. The vulnerability mapping list or the CNCP status list is been displayed over there. The adolescent planning chart and activities that adolescent girls are doing in that villages on child protection, those are displayed, and those are monitored every month in every meetings. There are some ICs on child protection, on early marriage, on trafficking, on school, on right to education act and all, so that the information can also can be given to the committee people. So it's kind of one-stop center where people can come and get all the information. They can get to know about the status of that village, about the committee action plan that they have developed for their own village, and what is the status of that plan. What are the linkage status, how many families has been linked with the various social security schemes. So all this kind of information are displayed in that center, so the committee people can measure and they can monitor their own work. And we have also developed meeting cycles for adolescent groups and child protection committees, so that every month whatever meetings takes place in the communities in the communities, they have a proper meeting cycle, and they perform as they conduct meetings as per those meeting cycles, and they also measure their outcomes accordingly. So basically, it's a very cost-effective community-based convergent platform, because it is already existing in the community. We need to just identify a place. So we have not developed any building, or we have not constructed any building for a safe space, or neither we have purchased any land. It's a community-owned. It's a place where the committee have their meetings. So it may be a panchayat bhavan, it may be a distorted building which can be renovated a bit with some kind of community contribution, or and also some kind of financial help from the organization. So it's a very cost effective model which can be scaled up easily as a and that can be showcased as a model for promoting child participation. It can be accessed from anywhere. It is a resource hub kind of thing. As I've mentioned, it's a very one-stop center sort of thing, where people can come and can get the information, they can access the services, and also they can support in various kind of meetings. And basically it's a community-based platform, a convergent platforms where all kind of players can come and they can participate in those meetings and contribute in preventing the vulnerabilities of the children. And these are some of the activities that can be scaled up, or that can be initiated in the safe spaces. It's a collaborative platform. So child engagement activities including observation of special days, Independence Day, Republic Day, Child Rights Week, Any special days can be observed where the children can come and they can talk, they can share the importance of these events. It can also serve as a learning center for bridging the learning gaps. During COVID, we have seen due to school closure, a lot of children has dropped out from school and they are facing this learning crisis. So these safe spaces during the COVID times has been a game changer, because those children who are slow learners or who has dropped out from school, we are providing that academic support in these learning centers, so that they can come up to that age appropriate classes, they can bridge their learning gaps, and that additional support can be provided through education. These centers can also act as an information center for various kind of IECs and social security schemes. Extracurricular activities like dance, yoga, art and craft, all these can be carried on in these safe spaces that promotes child participation, bring out the expressions of children, and also develop their life skills, because this adolescent age group is very crucial. So in CINI, we have developed our own life skill package, which has been referred by the standardized, life skill curriculum that has been endorsed by WHO, the 10 life skill package. So taking that reference of WHO, we have developed a life skill package, which is a very child-friendly package and focuses on activity-based learning in developing life skills among children. We initiate sessions with adolescent girls in these safe spaces, and impart lessons on life skills so that they can develop their life skills and empower themselves. So life skill sessions like decision making, critical thinking, anxiety management, effective communication. So like these, there are 10 sessions where the adolescent girls take part in these meetings and they get empowered. And also it's a great platform for convergence and interface meetings with various stakeholders in the community. So I'll stop here, but this is the innovation that I would like to share. I thought that this might be interesting and that can be scaled up in other areas as well, because with the community gatekeeping piece, we need to have these kind of small elements of innovation, because when we talk about community gatekeeping, it talks about prevention at source. It talks about bringing all stakeholders into one place and planning, and a robust monitoring mechanism is developed to ensure that community gatekeeping elements. But we also need to have some kind of innovation, some kind of work which talks about this kind of child participation and promoting effective decision making process. So there comes the safe space initiative of CINI, and it is running very well in couple of areas, and in project geographies where CINI is working in West Bengal, Jharkhand, Assam, and Orissa. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share the work that we are doing in CINI as part of our community-based child protection model. And I really would love to hear if you have any questions and doubts so that I can answer those. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Subhadeep, for sharing with us CINI's very innovative and relevant interventions and strategies related to family strengthening and community gatekeeping, and also for highlighting the importance of children's participation and relevance of state and civil society convergence and the means for achieving it. Now we have with us Karishma Singh. Karishma is a care experienced young adult who is passionate about engaging with people and bring about meaningful changes. Having started her career in 2017 as a human resource professional, she, along with a group of resource professionals, a group of young people, she has started a clan, formed Care Leavers Association in 2018 with support of other civil society organizations. Clan is a youth-led initiative of care leavers in India, and today has led to many more similar networks. Karishma has been instrumental in amplifying the voices of care leavers at national and international forums, and her efforts inspire and motivate other care leavers to grow into empowered and resilient individuals. I now welcome Karishma. So Karishma will be giving us an understanding of aftercare from care leavers' perspective. Karishma, over to you. Karishma, you are on mute. Karishma, you are on mute.
Hello.
Yes, you're audible now.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. I think there was some issue with my screen.
Yeah, no worries.
So thanks a lot for that lovely introduction, Maninder. Thank you very, very much. I'm little unwell, so my voice will be little harsh, but I'll try my level best that I can convey my message. So hello everyone. I'm really blessed and happy that I got this opportunity to meet all of you virtually and present my thoughts on aftercare. So if I talk about myself, Maninder has already given a brief about me. Uh, if you think why am I here, so if I start from there, it's been long for me that I've been a system in the system. So I've been in child care institute as a very young child, you can say, and then I went in aftercare. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, I got the portal 23. So childhood, I have seen a lot of young people who were elder than me and the ones who were younger than me. So I would start with a story of a friend who was very, very close to me when I was growing up. So if I think of her many, many years back, I've seen her as somebody who was very talented, who was very well spoken, and she wanted to do so much in her life, but she did not get the right support. Today, she is married and has a child, and she was younger than me, so she might be around 26, 27 at the moment, and her child is already, I think, 9 or 10. Yeah. So her mother had, I think, 7 to 8 children, and she, by her choice, sent those kids to CCI. I got an opportunity to meet few of them. Two of her elder sisters, and one was, of course, her. In 2006, I got separated from her because I was moved to a different system and she was kept in the same system. Later on, the system decided that she was turning 18 and they had no such structure or program as far as aftercare was concerned. So they decided to send her off that, either you go back to your family or you find a job or do something, but we cannot keep you in the system. And I lost touch with her because the system where I was moved in, you were not allowed to make calls and all. Initially you were not, but later on they did provide us with the opportunity where you can make one call in a month. It could be your mentor or someone. I got in touch with her after many, many years and I got to know that she has a child. And during the times of COVID, I was supposed to speak on some forum. So I thought of reconnecting with her because I wanted to understand how was her experience in times of COVID and how did she manage with her family and everything. And that was the time I got to know that she's already being divorced, uh, you know, and she was alone with the child. She was struggling. She was going through a lot of problem. And that was the time when she asked me, Karishma, can you speak to someone, in your contact and put my child in a system? I said, why would you do that? Like every time, we connect, you've always expressed this desire to study, be with your family, have that warmth in the family, which you could not get. Your mother was there, your father was there, but I don't know what happened, but because of poverty or certain reasons, your family, they themselves decided to separate the children from the family and send them in the system so they can get some education. Why would you like to send your child to a system? She said, Karishma, because I'm not able to provide proper care, proper food and education to my child, and I feel if my child goes in the system, he'll be able to study, she'll be able to study. I said, that's wrong. If you want your child to go to a school, send them to some government school. There are a lot of schools who will support you. She said, no, the government system is not that good. And I want my child to be really, good in study so that my child doesn't face or see what I am going through at the moment. So when today I ask her, what were the 2 3 things that you feel, could have been done, so you could have not, landed in such a situation. She always expresses that I wish there was somebody who could hold my hand, Karishma, when I was in need. I was 17, going to be 18, and the system said that you have to leave the system. I was still in school because, so many times young children are coming, like not young children, but children are coming in the system, and they're already 13, they're already 14, and they've never been to school. The elementary part is missing from their education. So of course you cannot send them to little bigger grades like seventh, eighth, or ninth. They have to start from the scratch. Because of that, they're not able to go to a proper school and get the education. So many times they're being sent to vocational centers where they do basic maths, basic language understanding. They get into stitching or makeup or hair, beauty parlor, and then they are being sent to some job where they get this minimal of 10,000, 7,000. At times no money. They're not being treated well. At times they themselves do not know, if I get an employment, how do I have to behave, how do I have to talk, if I have to take a leave, how shall I apply for it? They're so nervous. Yeah. So coming back, if a child is entering into a system, of course, there are a lot of issues. Could be a family who decided to separate the child from the family because they could not take care of the child due to so many reasons. Could be poverty. Could be that parents are not themselves aware how to take care of their child. Probably there is physical violence. They're beating their children. So many cases I've seen. I've met those young people. I When I was growing up, I also met those young people who were being raped by their own father, by their own uncles, by their own mamas, and the family decided to keep the girl's mom. That don't say anything. You know, what will the society say? It's okay, we'll take care of it. And later on, when the case got bad, they were sent to a system. Of course, the family is the best place and the right place, because when you, like, I am out of the system, it's been a long time, but of course I want to have a family. It is very, very important when I'm sick, when there is some festival or function. And it's not about just festival and function, it's about the belongingness. It's about having somebody to turn your face and say, oh, okay, they're there, I'm safe, I'm secure. It's difficult to live a life when you are out all alone and nobody is there to take care of you. It is very, very difficult. And not every child is very good at making relationships, being a part of network. So many times, young people say that I don't want myself to be associated with some system because of the stigma, because of their prior experiences that they had, the way they were being judged by different people. Yeah. Like my friend who was in the system, could not get proper education, life skills were missing. She did not had any good skill in her hand that she could use later on to get an employment. Right now, she's doing small jobs, able to make 10,000, 12,000, but that is not sufficient, for her child and herself. She decided to get married because she thought that's the solution. So many times when children don't have anyone to love, to care for, to have the security that they're gonna be there for me when I need them. So many times, because of so many reasons, they feel okay, the solution is let me get married, let me have a wife or a husband, let me have a partner, and probably this will make my life simpler or easier. But it's not. It's not making their life simpler or easier. They are getting pregnant, they are having babies, babies are struggling, they are struggling, they're getting separated from the family. So many times if the family is deciding to keep these young people, I have spoken to few girls where they're treated like a garbage in the house. I remember getting in touch with a girl. I know her. She got married 7 years back, and till now things are not good for her. She has 2 children and things are not good for her. She cannot go out, get a job. She was in the system because she came from a very, very traumatic childhood. Her story is horrible if you hear. Later on, the system decided to get her married. Of course, the you can say boy's family or the men's family knew everything. At that time they were okay. But later on they started complaining that, oh, she's little, you know, not smart or doesn't know how to take care of a family and stuff like that. Where will she go now? Two children, doesn't know how to take care of a family, doesn't know how to take care of herself. Even if she wants, she cannot go find a job. They beat her. There were situations where they'll tear her clothes. I mean, no one deserves a life like this. No one deserves. Family is very, very important, no doubt. And if by any chance the child is getting in a system and after 18 there is no support, the situation is becoming more and more worse. It's like you're bringing a child from a street, you know, from a very miserable condition. You keep the child, you make files, you provide them four walls and a roof, three time meals. And I'm not sure in some of the systems they might get only two times meals. I'm not sure if their proper, nutrition and those things are being taken care of. And then they are 18, there is no individual care being given to them. It's like one room, 30 children. I've seen those systems where there's no place to even walk. I'm not saying the system is bad to keep the children, but if there is no solution, the system has to be good. The people who are working in the system, for the system, the people who are making the policies, I'm sure everyone has a family. Everyone has seen children growing up in the family. Inviting young people, asking them what they want and what is their problem, it is not very, very difficult to understand. We can look into our own families and our own children, how much love, how much care, how much attention, individual care. We're asking the child, what do you want? We observe them, okay, my child is good at this thing. Let me introduce them to certain workshops or certain classes so that when they grow up, they can do something with this skill or this art, or probably it's good for their mental health. But nobody is doing that in the system. So many young people are already out, still in the process of getting out many years. I know young people who are 35, some of them are 40 years old, and they were in the system. So long, long back, they're out. So many of them going through divorces and issues in their marriage. They don't know whom to reach out to. At times, when you have family, your mother is there, your father is there, there's an issue in the family, they sit and talk. But with young people who have no background, when I'm saying no background, I mean mama, papa, there's no history that can be tracked back and they can go back, and there is no follow up being taken on them. Okay, 20 years back, 10 years back, 5 years back, there was some young adult who went out. How is this person doing? Are they healthy? And if they have health issues, they don't have money even, to go to the hospital. If some of them are really good at education, education is super, super expensive. And if there are opportunities which you can take for free of cost, most of them don't know about it because they're busy with their day-to-day struggles and issues in life. So it is really, really important that, of course, the child should stay in the family. But if the family is not safe, we really need to make sure that we are putting things in place so that the child is safe in the family. And if not in the family, if the child is in the system, it is very, very important that child is safe in the system. Three time meals, four walls, and one roof is not sufficient, is just not sufficient. So many young people are already out, don't have jobs, no proper education, no proper life skills, don't know how to manage their anxieties, their day-to-day issues. Because the child in the system, of course, there were a lot of trauma, there were a lot of issues. Being in the system itself is a trauma, you know. Staying in the system, going to school, facing those, stigmas in the school. So many times, even the teachers are not very, very sensitive. Young people in the school are not very, very sensitive. So many times they ask harsh questions, which makes a child uncomfortable. So many young people I know, so many little children I know, when I sit and talk to them, they say, the other day, this one person in my class said this. The other day, this senior person said this to me. I don't feel comfortable. Even if they are talented, if they have good things to show on the stage to talk, they try to hide themselves, because they're scared that if they'll get to know about it, they might say stuff to me. Because a lot of stigma is still being attached to it. And people are not sensitive towards their problems, towards their issues. If there could be something that we can make people sensitive, we can reach out to people in the society and tell them there is a section like this in the society. We need to be more warm. We need to be more accepting towards them. It's not their fault if they don't have a family, or even if they have a family and the family is not very functional. I think there are so many things which I would like to talk about. If I have 2 more minutes, or probably, I don't know if I'm eating up someone's time.
No, Karishma, you can take a few more minutes.
Uh, 2 minutes, 4 minutes,
Yeah,
Manindra?
2 minutes. You can take 2 more minutes.
Yeah, 2 more minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if the child is in the system, we have to make sure that it's just not 3 time meals and the roof and the bed. And at times, even the bed condition is not so good. They are little children, they urinate. I don't know if somebody is keeping them at rest in the sun, making sure. So look at it, like these minute things. And this is very, very critical for their health and for so many other things. I've been to systems, they're huge, they are big from outside, you sit in the meeting rooms and conferences, there's so much to talk about. They'll show you presentations, they'll show you pictures. But when you see the children, it's horrible. All in mud. Clothes are like, it's dirty. There are cuts on hands and legs. I asked, like, do you guys get shampoo? They said, no, we don't get shampoo. We just get one soap and we put it in the head everywhere. You might think, Karishma, there are other things to take care. You stucking at shampoo, but this is an important thing. Don't we give shampoos to our kids in the family? Why can't we give the same kind of love and care and attention to the children who are in the system? I don't know if they're coming back from school, somebody sitting with them and talking to them. How was your day at school? Did somebody bother you? Is there is something which is bothering you in terms of your studies? Do you need some help? Do you need some support? No. Are you healthy? Are you fine? Are you feeling upset? Do you want to sit next to me and talk to me for some time? I understand because of safety and other reasons, the security is tight, they cannot go out because CWC is there and so many officials and such bodies are there where you need to report the child and present the child is safe and everything. But when we are keeping them so confined and so locked, please let us not expect us that after 18 they go out and they take care of everything. It is just not possible. It is very easy to understand what they want. It's just like we need to look into our own families, into our own lives. Our kids don't have traumas, but these kids have traumas. They need extra care, they need extra protection. We need to make sure that they get jobs. On these forums, we have, I'm saying big people, very, very educated people. They have done doctorates, they've done this and they've done that. But what about their education? Is it like sufficient that you do some diploma in some small course and get a job where you just get 10,000? It is expensive, to sustain a life outside. We have to make sure that we are giving right education to men and women, to girl and boy, everyone. If we have job opportunities in our system, we have to make sure that we reach out to these young people and give them these opportunities so we are able to make their life better. Because honestly, the condition is horrible. It's extremely horrible. The ones who do not have family, the ones who might have some relation with the family, but they don't want to go back because they don't have the attachment, that love, that safety with them they feel. I've not written anything or made my points, but I hope I've conveyed, you know, some of the very important points. So if the child is in the system, we have to make sure that we give them the best and the best because so much is at stake. So much is at stake. It's not that they turn 18, we make a individual, some plan and we say, okay, here is your plan, you take it and you go. No, We have to work from a very early stage, not only with the children, but the people who are working for children. From the very early stage, we have to work. So much is at stake. Their life becomes miserable. And not only their life, the places where they're working, the families they're getting into. First of all, most of the families are not interested taking young people, thinking, oh, no background. How can we trust? No, we cannot get into marriage or that kind of a space with such children who are coming from a system. Not right. We have to fix a lot of things. I'm very happy the things are changing. We get on such forums. There's so much good to hear. So much change is coming, and I'm so happy. And I'm sure future is going to be bright. But there's so many who are already out. There's so many who are out. What about them? What about them? And the ones who turn 18, it's my humble request. Please give them support as long as you can. As long. They turn 30, they turn 40, no matter how long. But we have to be there for them, like the way we are there for our own family. I think that's all. Thank you, Maninder.
Thank you so much, Karishma. Thank you for sharing your very crucial observations and for raising some pertinent concerns which need to be addressed to strengthen the care system and to achieve the best interest of children. And also for bringing up the challenges of care leavers and the tremendous need for follow-up. You also spoke about the need to sensitize the stakeholders and society, which is any day important for achieving this end. So I now invite Neha Naidu, who will talk about the care reforms in Odisha, the care reforms to strengthen family-based care. Currently, Neha works as a child protection specialist for UNICEF Office of Odisha, where she manages the portfolio of child protection system, strengthening, alternative care, adolescent empowerment, among others, for the state. She's passionate about rights-based work that can bring changes in the lives of children. Welcome, Neha.
Thank you very much. Thank you to ISCN for giving this opportunity. First of all, it was very heartening to listen to Karishma. Karishma, big applause to you. The way you spoke and all that you spoke, it makes me think that whatever we have done till now is not enough. We have to, it's a very long journey. We have to do much more. When you are talking about being in the system and how it becomes difficult. So that is what all of us are trying to do, right? We don't want children to come in the contact with system. We want to act as gatekeepers. But many a times it is always not possible. Children do come into system, they do land up in CCIs. And now I think that what we have worked till now so far is mostly with the child protection workforce, but we also need to work more with schools and other institutions where these children will come into contact. I feel school would be one of the major, it plays one of the major role, because for all children, it is like second home. Same applies to all the children who are living in CCIs. So we need to sensitize school system, the teachers, and of course, community at large. But to start with, I think, Karishma, you have given me the way ahead for the work in Odisha at least. So I will urge to all the partners of UNICEF and ISCN to work towards, I mean, we should not limit us only to the CP system. That's what I feel. We have to go beyond. We have to work with each and every stakeholder with whom these children will come into contact. So yeah, thank you. And I'll try to finish the presentation in a given time. I would not go through each and every slide. we can go to the next slide. I would just like to share the journey in Odisha on caregivers. I think these are some of the important structures that we are working with. So as I was saying, the child protection workforce is very important. And that's how we have been working in the state also with all the systems. And all the systems so far are in place in as far as the state of Odisha is concerned. We can go to the next. I would just like to mention that the journey of care reforms in Odisha started a decade back. It started with a right to family campaign when there were many children who were living in CCIs. Some of the very good NGOs who are working in Odisha and elsewhere, they came together. There was a task force and a mass awareness was created because the mindset had to be changed. I'm really glad that when I used to work like a few years back, I would say like 15 years back, not here in Odisha, but in Gujarat and elsewhere, there was this mindset even among the government that children are better cared in institutions, let them be in the institutions, and family is not the place. So that mindset has now changed. Now government realizes the importance of children being in family-based care and not in the CCIs, and that is what all the work that has been done across this country on the importance of family-based care has resulted into. So after the right to family campaign, mass awareness generation, piloting was done to create few models on foster care, on kinship care, and show to the government that this does work. And this is the better place for children. Children are happier in family-based care and not in the CCIs. In 2020, we signed an MOU with the Department of Women and Child Development, in which the whole issue, because what I was saying, the government was very much with us on the principle of non-institutional care. Institution should be the last resort. And then there was a discussion with the secretary, principal secretary WCD, that let us have an MOU to have a systematic work on non-institutional care, and system has to be strengthened. All the government officers, the child protection workforce should also have the same belief that children are better in family-based care. How do we do gatekeeping in the best interest of the children? And that's when we collaborated with Hopes and Homes. So the journey started in 2020 when it was COVID, and I'm so thankful to Hopes and Homes. We collaborated, and they have invested a lot of time in training not only the state government workforce like the State Child Protection Society. Yes, apart from that, all the district level trainings they did for us. So we had kind of prepared a full calendar in which each district had to all the district important child protection workforce like CWCs, the DCPU unit, the CCIs supervisors, and the caretakers staff. All of them, they came for these trainings, district-wise trainings. Series of district-wise trainings were undertaken. Hopes and Homes has a very systematic way of training. It was not that it was a training for the sake of it. It was a systematic way where in which they kind of first interacted and also they did a kind of little bit survey and like need-based assessment. What are the gaps? What do they want to learn more? Where is it that they? So it was a very participative way of asking them, starting with the need assessment, and then even during the trainings, it was the way it was conducted. It was so participative in spite of it being COVID and it was all online. But we could see the value addition of bringing the technical agency Hopes and Homes, because it was very participative. All of the workforce, they were very much involved in the group discussions, and this one went very well for us because usually what happened during COVID, we all know that things were not running very smoothly, and because there was no face-to-face interaction, nothing was possible. Like the day-to-day programs, that all the work that we were doing came to an halt. But this program in fact initiated during COVID, and it worked very well. The online trainings worked very well for us. And then after the capacity development plans were, the capacity development was done. So they were asked to come up with the tentative plans. That's where district action plans. So there was also a government order from the WCD department to all the collectors to come up with the district action plan on alternative care. That's where we selected like 10 districts who were a bit progressive on the alternative care alternative care care reforms, I would say. And that's where they shared their district action plans, wherein again it was shared by them to UNICEF and Hopes and Homes, and Hopes and Homes kind of supported in refining those plans and making it stronger. And we also have a partnership, non-technical partnership, a non-financial but technical partnership, like we have with Hopes and Homes. Similarly, we have with Catholic Relief Service, CRS. So in 10 districts, CRS supported us to place district consultant with the DCPO unit, so to help making a robust plan. So it was like 3 agencies we have come together since 2020 till the journey of all 3 of us is going on very well in the state, where all of us are we are working on this alternative care management, alternative care journey in the state. Next. So this is some of the data. I would not go in detail, but you can see that in 2015 and 2015-16, the children residing in CCIs were 30,000. Now at present, it is 8,323 only. So you can see the sharp decline in the number of CCIs and the number of children residing in the CCIs. Next. So all the efforts that I showed in the previous slide, this is what has resulted in today the decline of children residing in CCIs. This is like similar. This is about gatekeeping. So the focus of the trainings and the system strengthening was not only on deinstitutionalizing, it was also more on gatekeeping. How do we prevent children coming in the institutions and looking into that they be in the family? And for that, usually the CP workforce, they are working, but the capacities of seeing that big picture sometimes is lacking. So that's where Hopes and Homes and UNICEF together, we were able to bring that kind of bigger picture, a comprehensive outlook on the issue of family, on the issue of institutionalization, where if they want that if they want that gatekeeping is being done, then they also have to ensure that active family support is being provided to the children. Because if the parents are not in the state of taking care of the child, we cannot just force them that the child would not go to the institution, they will remain with you. So we have to build up that environment, which is important for the child to be in the family. And there are many schemes of the government. So those schemes, to see it beyond the schemes which is with WCD, because WCD, we have only sponsorship and foster care in India, right? So we have to see beyond WCD schemes. There are so many schemes for housing, for pension, for livelihood, for skills development in government, state operated schemes, and so many schemes are government of India operated schemes. So how to link this family with all those schemes so that the child doesn't have to leave the family, the child can be in the kinship care and can be with their kins or a single parent rather than being institutionalized. So this kind of continuous capacity building inputs also change the outlook of the whole child protection workforce, where they were able to think in a different way. as far as family strengthening is concerned, because family strengthening is key to family-based care. That's what all of us believe. Next. So yeah, these are some of the figures that you can see on sponsorship, adoption, aftercare, and foster care so far in the state. Next. I would just briefly like to mention about this scheme. So as how this close association with government of Odisha, the WCD department also supported us in getting a special scheme for children. So these continuous capacity building and the dialogue with the government was there since the beginning of COVID, and wherein the government also realized, and then the realization was there, but the family-based care is so important that that kind of gained momentum across the state. And that's when COVID happened. And in the second wave of COVID, we know there were so many children who were rendered orphans. Their parents died, and it was really a very critical situation for them. So in that case, we kind of suggested, advocated with the government basically, that can we come up with a scheme. We all of us know that majority of states came up with schemes for COVID orphans. They used to call it COVID orphans. So in Odisha, this scheme, when this scheme came, we kind of supported government in development of the scheme document, and we also kind of requested them that can we have a scheme which covers all the children who are orphaned during COVID, and not only the just COVID orphans, because those children who are living in like kinship care or foster care, they would end up in institutions. We know during COVID there were livelihood loss. It was difficult for the family to take care of their own children. They would not take care of an extra mouth, and that's where we requested, can we have it for other children also who lost parents during COVID period, be it through accident or some sickness, illness, but they are equally vulnerable. Also, we found that from other states, there were reports that for COVID orphans, to get that COVID death certificate became an issue. And so many children were not getting benefit because of these issues. So, exclusion was very high. That's where we gave all the examples, evidence from across the state. We continuously advocated, and that's when government agreed to have a scheme, Ashirwad, which would cover all the children during COVID. So the period is April 2020 till September 2021. So covering both the phase of COVID. After October, the cases were like reduced a lot. Now we are not facing COVID cases anymore. So it was during COVID period only, but it is, I would say that Odisha is the only state which covers all the children. So all these children who lost their parents during this period will be supported till 18 years of age. And also, the stigma with COVID orphans was something that we were not comfortable with. And we are really happy that it came through. All the children during COVID period, single and orphan parent, both are covered under this scheme. Next. Yeah, so these are some of the benefits with which, so as I was sharing that, when we also discussed a lot about active family support, the family strengthening bit. So in the scheme also we included linkages with all the other schemes to strengthen that family. And that's how this was all reflected in the scheme itself. So, that kind of system strengthening, capacity building, continuous dialogue with government also helps in broadening their perspective on family-based care. So it is not just children remain in family, it is a lot more than that, right? So this is something which government showed through this scheme. Next. Yeah, and we also came up with a helpline during the COVID period. So this helpline was basically because at that time, children caretakers, they did not know where to reach out, whom to contact. We have seen like very vulnerable grandparents who doesn't have any idea. They are not even educated. So if there is some helpline, they can also be told about this scheme. They can be told about where do they need to go if the child is suffering from COVID or the caretaker is suffering. Where can the children be taken care of? So for that, a helpline was launched with WCD to support them with, because mental health, we know mental health become a huge concern post COVID, and all of us were working in on mental health. So alternative care, mental health was integrated in kind of all our programs, including alternative care. So apart from providing mental health, the helpline was also linking them with various schemes and referrals. And right now, this helpline is housed under the Crime Against Women and Children wing. And apart from following up of vulnerable children, I mean, apart from getting the calls from all the vulnerable children and their caretakers, they are also following up with POXO victims of sexual abuse, to support them with victim compensation or any other referrals or linkages. So yeah, that's how the Sampark Help Desk has been a great help for the government here. And we provided with kind of 5 counselors. Now government have included 8 more counselors from their funds, and they have provided with all the other facilities like laptops, phones, etc. Next. So yes, these are some of the good practices. I already spoke about it. The system strengthening I spoke about Ashirvad, ranking of CCI's standard of care, which is so important, which was something which our previous speaker was also mentioning. Karishma was also mentioning how important it is. I would not say that it is all good and everything is done in Odisha, especially after listening to Karishma. But yeah, these are some of the best practices which has helped the state to do better in terms of alternative care. Thanks. Next. So yeah, learnings and way forward, I would not go in too much of detail, but about the care lever thing, which is also a very important aspect of our work at UNICEF level also. So care lever association, we have connected, we have every year during the, like this also started from 2020 COVID time. It was first interaction was online, and from there onwards we are doing it. We did it last year also, we'll be doing this year also. So care level association children, they come together, they are well connected through a WhatsApp group. And we also have a partner agency who are working in 12 districts, connecting them with various linkages. We also got support from Tech Mahindra, who has their smart centers in Bhubaneswar, to support them with skill building. And also the aftercare guidelines is something, because when we signed this MOU with government, immediately after that, all this processes started, including the aftercare guidelines, which was also published in 2020 during the COVID period, once we started this work. And in the aftercare guidelines itself, we included the Care Levers Association, with which the Odisha State Child Protection Society can support. And rest, I think, learning and way forward. This is a model which CRS uses. So I think that is something which they can also speak about later when they get a when they will be one of the speaker. But here for the I would like to stop here with the learnings and way forwards. Sharing that this is not enough. What I learned from Karishma today is something which has also become a very important way forward for us in Odisha. Thank you once again for this opportunity. If there are any questions, I'd love to answer.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Neha, for making us familiar with the journey of Odisha's state care reforms towards family-based care, especially during the pandemic, and also talking about the stakeholders involved. Thank you for also sharing with us some visible outcomes. So this is the end of the very stimulating sessions. We had planned a video with the recorded interview of Justice Gupta, where he shared his observations and insights on the shift towards non-institutional alternative care in the country. But due to some technical reasons, there were issues in the sound. But now we see this as an opportunity to invite Justice Gupta to come live and join us as a speaker in the upcoming webinars. Now I request Mark to facilitate the question answer session.
Yeah, thank you, Meninda, and thank you for the three speakers. I'm sure that everybody enjoyed hearing the experiences, and it's encouraging to hear everything that's going on. One of the questions that I had actually for the participants, for the speakers, and I think I'll start with the order that people spoke. So the first question really for Subhadeep is, Subhadeep, you shared a lot about your community work, which was excellent, and the prevention and the collaboration and bringing together the services at community level. So the question is, and it's the same question for each actually, how do you think the FAQ document is going to help you with that work, or help to sort of increase the conversations around that work? Where do you see the opportunities in Jharkhand and maybe more generally for the FAQs, and how can it support you?
Okay, Mark. A very good question. What I understand from this FAQ is that we a lot of questions and efforts that we take in as an initiative in the communities. A lot of them have no answers, because we are either doing it out of innovation, or we are exploring areas of various child protection initiatives, and also we are constantly experimenting, so that based on our model, we can get some relevant scope to work with those vulnerabilities. This FAQ document, what I see that is really going to help to answer those unanswered questions, and also it will help to understand the perspective from a wider sense. The examples or the initiative that has been undertaken in other areas and in other contexts, that can also be taken as a learning from this FAQ document. What we need to do in Jharkhand's context, we need to contextualize the FAQ. We need to see that how this can be implemented, or how the learnings from that FAQ document, those answers and the questions that we have in that FAQ document, how those can be contextualized and made relevant for our local stakeholders. Because I believe the issues are same irrespective of any area where we work, but the way of doing things, and people have their own way of their own perspectives, and they do it in a different way, but the issue is same. So we need to understand and learn those innovative practices, and there has to be a scope for taking that learning and contextualizing it as per our Jharkhand requirements. So I see this as a great opportunity to learn from a wider sense and implement as per the area requirement.
Yeah, thank you, Subhadeep. Really insightful. And Karishma, you really outlined some of the challenges that people who've experienced care have had, and that was really important. And thank you so much for sharing. And I know that you haven't been very well this week, so our apologies for you presenting if it was a bit uncomfortable. But I think you talk about probably one of the most important things with the FAQs, and in fact alternative care, and that's aftercare. And I think the question for you is, what is your advice to us as sort of practitioners about how we can use the FAQs to popularize and increase the services to sort of care leavers? Or maybe.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Karishma.
Yeah, hi, Mark. So since I was super,
Hi.
so I could not read the entire frequently asked, questions. Yeah. And I'll not be able to speak more now because I might start coughing in another minute. Hello. Hello.
That's okay. We don't want you to cough. That's fine. That's a conversation that we can keep going forward. But I think that the aspects of aftercare in the FAQs are really, really important. And finally, Niha, the work that you've done in Odisha, thank you so much for outlining it. It was really great. It's a really great presentation. Thanks so much. We're really sort of honored to be a part of that journey with Odisha. And the question for you is really, you know, what you've done in Odisha, how can the FAQs help with sort of having more conversations around care reform? And what is your advice to us really as a community of practitioners and advocates for children, you know, in terms of using what you've done in Odisha and the FAQs? I mean, what advice have you got for us?
Yeah, so I would like to say that we have to, of course, work beyond the child protection system. Child protection workforce, these FAQs, I'm sure, is very useful for them also. So we need to popularize it. Sometimes it happens that they might not have time, or this might not be their priority to go through the FAQs. So if we can also come up with like small WhatsApp videos kind of things. I'm not sure if it's already there. Pardon me if it is already there. But if not, people are very much there on WhatsApp these days. So, if we have small videos on the FAQs, which can be shared with the CCI caretakers, with the school teachers, with the child protection workforce, DCPU, CWCs, it can be really useful, because sometimes what our experience says is that uh, many times they don't go through the reading document. And like here in Odisha, we have also come up with an app. So we have supported government with adolescent empowerment program. It's called Advika. And Advika, we have prepared an app of Advika. So in the app, all the materials which were uh, uh, static material, we have converted it in conversational material, so that uh, in a comic form or with a voiceover, so that people who are not much into reading or doesn't want to read lot, they can at least hear and learn things from it. And it is available for all the adolescents, so that adolescents can also get a kind of certificate after they complete a course. So something we can also think of, where they also get some motivation to try out the FAQs. A kind of certificate can be included after they finish the FAQs. These are some of the suggestions we can do one step at a time. And yeah, regarding the Odisha's experience, I would say it is also very, very important to work with the system, because only government can work at scale. How much ever we want, we can help only fewer villages or communities. But if we want the same kind of thing to be replicated across the state, it has to be government. And what I also learned from my experience with working with government past so many years now, you have to discuss with them from the very beginning. If you kind of make a pilot model on your own and then share it with government, you will find a bit of resistance. They would say that it is your model, it is your pilot, why should we adapt it? And even if they say that yeah, they will adapt it, but later they might not. So if we share it with them, get their inputs together, we make a plan. It is usually very helpful. And also, I would like to say that this alternative care work, any kind of child protection issue in India becomes an issue, because becomes a real problem, because the scale is so huge, and the workforce is very limited. Like we have only the DCPU at district level. There is no workforce at block level. There is no workforce at community level. So we have used Anganwadi workers, the frontline worker, for our adolescent empowerment program. And so when we go to government with any problems or issues, we should also share with them the solutions, and the solution should be such which is kind of even cost effective for them, because they have to work at scale. They would not work in one district or two districts. So some solutions which we have to share it with them, like the family strengthening work that together with Hopes and Homes and CRS that we are doing here. So these are all government available schemes. We have to share with them, this is already available with you. Can we have a mechanism to ensure that all the departments are involved? It is not just WCD, and all of us, we are kind of also leveraging schemes and programs of all the department. Like here in Odisha, we have also supported government in conceptualizing a day called, it's a day for children, where they will come, well, the district collector, and this is at all the three levels, the head of the administration will discuss all the issues related to child protection issues only, where we have also made orphan and single parent children as one of the important focus area to be discussed about. So if we have some data, data is also very important. That data can be shared with in that meeting when the district collector is chairing. So all the departments are kind of responsible to link those orphan and single parent children to all the schemes of all the department and just not WCD. So these are certain learnings that I have gained through, which has worked for me here in Odisha. I might be useful, so just share those. Yeah, thank you, Mark, and thank you, Tessa, and everyone in ISN.
Oh, thank you. You gave us some really great tips there, Neha. I think that it's really important. And I think the key thing is that it is important that the FAQs are used to promote, inspire actual practice on the ground, which is the intended purpose, and also to ensure that it's done in line with all of the government strategies and protocols. The one thing that I keep learning from Cine is we have to work within the system, and even though it may be a bit slower, it's way more sustainable working within the existing systems and strengthening the systems than creating something different. So yeah, and I think you're really right. Okay, thank you so much for the speakers, and over to you, Maninda.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark, and thank you to all the speakers for their very interesting suggestions. I want to add something. I think we should look forward to translating the FAQ so that they reach out to the major belt in India. So we can start with translation in Hindi, and then we can see how we can go forward with that. So now I invite Tessa to conclude the webinar by sharing the reflections and understandings that emerged out of this very enriching learning session. Tessa is Hope and Homes for Children Regional Director for Asia. She is a qualified social worker with the specialty in child protection policies and systems. She has developed case management system, led social work training, facilitated the strengthening and implemented child protection policies in Nepal, India, Vietnam, Indonesia, and Myanmar. Welcome, Tessa.
Thank you very much, Maninder. I see that we're going a little bit over time, so I'll keep it short. Thank you all for joining, and thank you also so much to all our amazing speakers. I believe, and we've heard that also today, that it's a key element of good care reform is to speak the same language and to understand each other when we use words like foster care, like alternative care, etc. And these FAQs are a first attempt to make sure that everyone has a similar understanding. And we hope that this will continue to feed into the dialogues that we will be having going forward. We are seeing this as an opportunity, as a first step, this come together today. And we would like to continue with a few more sessions going forward and to dig in a little bit deeper on what certain aspects of the FAQ document actually entail. So we would like to invite you all again going forward soon. You will receive an invitation. And in one of those sessions, we will also share the recording of the conversation we had with Judge Gupta, and we will have other exciting speakers as well. So thank you all for joining, and have a lovely weekend ahead of you, and speak soon. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I hope we all had a great time learning from each other, and we really look forward to having you in the upcoming webinars.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.